Hey there, Transmath class. We're going to get started in the next unit, Unit 4. So I'm going to call these notes 4.1. Okay, and to start off, looks like we're going to review a little bit where we're classifying some angles. And so we just need to look at this angle and decide if it's right, acute, or obtuse. Now I can see that there's that square drawn in the corner, and that is the giveaway that that is a right angle. Number 2, it looks like we've opened up the right angle even wider, so this is definitely bigger than 90 degrees. That is an obtuse angle. Okay, and again, number 3, even though it's kind of sitting at a kind of a funny way, it still has that square there. That tells us that this is definitely a right angle. It's a 90-degree angle, even though it's kind of turned a little bit, but it can be sitting in any direction as long as it has that little square. We know that that's a right angle. Number 4 definitely appears to be less than 90 degrees, so that is an acute angle. And number 5 looks like it's greater than 90, so that one's obtuse. Okay, in this lesson, what we're going to look at is adding and subtracting some mixed numbers. They have an acronym, this LAPS, L-A-P-S, and basically that's just kind of a checklist of things to do as you're working on these addition and subtraction problems with mixed numbers, and we'll break down that acronym as we go here, but it's just kind of a check to make sure you've gone through all the steps that need to be looked at. Okay, so we know that proper fractions are any fraction that fall between 0 and 1, but then you can have improper fractions, which are fractions that are greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so for example, like 9 halves. Well, I know that 9 halves is the same thing as 4 and 1/2, because remember when we did this, 2 goes into 9 4 times, there's a remainder of 1, and we put the remainder over the divisor, so that's 4 and 1/2. So we know like an improper fraction like 9 halves means the same thing as 4 1/2, so it would be like right there on the number line. That's where 4 1/2 would be. It would also be the same thing as 9 halves. Okay, and they put that on the number line right here. Okay, so how can we remember the steps for adding and subtracting mixed numbers? So this LAPS acronym, the L stands for look, which basically just means to just carefully analyze the problem and decide if it's addition or subtraction, and we'll get into multiplication, division again with mixed numbers as well. So just decide if it's addition or subtraction. Alter, so the A means alter, which means to make any changes necessary before you begin the problem, and those changes would mean finding a common denominator. Okay, so getting that common denominator set up. And then the P actually just means, well, now do the operation, perform the operation. So the P is perform the operation, add or subtract as required. And finally, we do want to simplify our answers, put them in the lowest possible terms as we can. So we want to find the GFC, the greatest common factor of the numerator and denominator, and simplify it. Okay, now I think in this first lesson, they are going to give us nice mixed numbers where we don't really have to change the denominators. I think they give us mostly common denominators already. Okay, so we're not always going to have to write this out, but I'll do it here. So remember, the L means look, and we see that we have addition. Okay, so there's addition that we need to do. Okay, alter, I'll say none for that because they already have common denominators, so we don't need to alter anything. And then P is perform. I should write this out. Alter. P is perform. So now we're just going to go ahead and do the operations. Now when you have these mixed numbers, what we can do is just add the fraction parts and then add the whole number parts, okay? So 1/5 plus 3/5, that would be 4/5, and 3 plus 2 would be 5. So my answer would be 5 4/5, okay? And then simplify. We don't need to simplify because 4/5 doesn't simplify, so we're all good. Okay, so again, it's look, we see it's subtraction, alter, look for a common denominator, we already have it, so that's fine. Perform, so as we perform, we're going to subtract this time. Okay, so 2/3 minus 1/3, well, 2 minus 1 is 1, so that's 1/3, and then 5 minus 1 would be 4, so we get 4 1/3, and for simplifying, it's already simplified again. 1/3 doesn't simplify any further. Okay, I'm not going to write these words out again. It's the same thing. Look, alter, perform, and simplify. So we look and we see that it's addition. Altering, we don't need to do it because we have 6 as the common denominator. And then let's just go ahead and perform the addition problem. So 3 plus 5 is 8. 1 6 plus 4 6 is 5 6. And then simplify. 5 6 does not simplify. So we're good with 8 and 5 6. And same with this one. We look and we see it's subtraction. We don't need to alter anything. They already have common denominators. So let's perform the subtraction. 9 minus 4 is 5. And 3/5 minus 1/5, that would be 2/5. And then can we simplify it? Nope, 2/5 does not simplify. Our answer is good just like that. Okay, I think we're getting close to the end here. Oh, I got a word problem there at the end. Okay, so in this one, we look, we see subtraction. We don't need to alter. So let's perform the subtraction. 3 minus 1 is 2. 3/4 minus 1/4 would be 2/4. And then for simplifying, this one does simplify a little bit. So 2/4, we know that we can divide each of those by 2. And so our new answer now is going to be 2 and 1/2. Because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 2/4 we know simplifies down to 1/2. So there's our simplified answer. Okay, the last part of this problem-solving activity, it says before the scatter plots can move things into the second floor of the house, they needed to fix the staircase. This will require accurate measurements. Help the scatter plots by solving the 4 problems. It says the step at the bottom of the staircase is broken. The scatter plots have a board that is 4 and 5/8 feet long. The board only needs to be 3 and 3/8 feet long. How much of the board needs to be cut off? So that word cut off, we're taking something away, right? We're cutting it off. That would mean subtraction. So we've got something 4 and 5/8, but it only needs to be 3 and 3/8. And so let's subtract those to see how much we need to cut off of that board. Okay, so 4, well, if we look, we can see subtraction. Alter, we already have 8ths for both, so we don't have to change anything. So let's go 4 minus 3 is 1, and 5/8 minus 3/8 is 2/8. But we can simplify 2/8, so we divide by 2, and our answer is going to be 1 and 1/4 feet. Okay, so we got to cut off 1 and 1/4 feet so that we get the board to be the right length, which would be 3 and 3/8. Okay. Number 2, it says there's a hole in the floor at the top of the staircase. 2 boards are needed to cover the hole. Each board is 1 1/3 feet wide. How wide is the hole in the floor? Okay, so now look at this. It says that there are two boards, and each board is 1 1/3. So let's, since we haven't been really doing multiplying yet, let's just add 1 1/3 plus 1 1/3, right? So we're going to go 1 1/3. Since there's 2 boards that are 1 1/3, we'll just add those together. And so 1 plus 1 is 2, and 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. So 2 and 2/3 feet. Okay. All right, last 2. It says another part of the floor needs to be replaced. It can be done with 2 boards. The first board is 3 and 5/16 feet long, and the second board is 4 and 9/16 feet long. How long is the part of the floor that needs to be replaced? So it says we have to put these 2 together basically to cover that hole, right? So we need to add together 3 and 5/16 plus 4 and 9/16. So 3 and 5/16, combining these together, 4 and 9/16. If we add those together, we already have common denominators, so 4 plus 3 is 7, 5 plus 9 is 14. So we have 7 and 14/16, and that one can be simplified because 14 and 16 can both divide by 2 since they're both even, and we get 7 and 7/8 feet. Okay. Last one, it says one railing on the staircase is cracked. The only board the band members have to fix the railing is 5 and 7/8 feet long. The new railing should be 5 and 1/8 feet long. How much will they have to cut off to make the board fit? Okay, so again, cut off, that means subtracting. So we're going to have 5 and 7/8 minus 5 and 1/8. Now on this one, the 5 minus 5, so now our whole number is basically gone because that would be 0, so we don't have to write 0. And all we'll have left is a fraction. So 7/8 minus 1/8 7 minus 1 is 6, so we have 6/8. And again, these can be simplified by dividing by 2. So we're going to get 3/4 of a foot. That's what needs to be cut off, 3/4 feet. Okay, and I think that is all for this section. So we're just a little bit of work with adding and subtracting mixed numbers and using that acronym to help remember how to just make sure you have all your steps covered.